Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before I even go anywhere, if you are in a relationship, have been in a relationship, or are looking to get in a relationship at some point of your life, then this is the perfect video for you. Do not click next, okay? So before I start, thank you once again for everybody who's subscribed, liked, commented. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell so that whenever I drop a video, you're one of the very first people to find out, okay? So today what I'm going to be speaking about is something that I think is relevant to most people, if not every single one of us, because as humans, we were meant to coexist and to correlate, and that is relationships, specifically toxic relationships, okay? So as I mentioned prior, the content of this video does not constitute as official psychological advice or assistance, or however you might want to phrase it. If you are looking to see a psychologist, if you are looking to see therapy or see someone professionally, please consult the nearest health professional in your area. So before further ado, let me get right into it. So what made me want to do a video on toxic relationships, if you guys refer back to my previous video, you'll notice that I wanted to start a series on gender-based violence, but just from my own personal angle, just from what I think are some of the things that contribute to it. And relationships happens to be one of the biggest things that I think contribute to gender-based violence and toxic masculinity and power relations and stuff like that. So I do hope that you guys will find this video very informative. Again, it's just based on my personal knowledge, my personal experiences, but it does also draw from my knowledge as a clinical psychologist. All right. So before I go any further, when I'm speaking about a toxic relationship in this video, I'm going to be speaking specifically about a relationship where one or both partners cause emotional, psychological, physical, or mental damages within the relation, within the context of that relationship. All right. Okay, so I'm sure that some people must be asking themselves, or rather I once asked myself this question at some stage of my life, that what is it about me, or what is it that I'm doing, or what is it about the type of guy that I'm attracting into my life that always makes me end up in toxic relationships? And obviously there is no one answer for that, because there are various factors that contribute towards people finding themselves in toxic relationships. For example, the family dynamic part of it. I'm one of those psychologists that are very big on families as foundations for a lot of the things that we go through in life. So for instance, if you're in a family where one or both of the parents are abusive, it desensitizes you to that type of behavior. So you either end up finding it okay to do that to someone else, or to be on the receiving end of that. So you'll find that whatever energy you give off in relationships, you attract someone of the like-minded behavior. And then you get stuff as well, like your socio-cultural environment that you come from, like emalokishini, in the suburbs and stuff like that. Different societies or different communities make different things a norm within their context. So like for instance, what might, I know I grew up in an era where I couldn't just walk around with a guy on the street. Like if my friend's mom would see me do that, they would beat the living crap out of me. So that's the community that I come from. So in my society or in my community, it wasn't, that type of behavior wasn't normed, whereas in somebody else's community, maybe things like PDA, the stuff that's normed and all this. So all of these things put together sort of get cemented in our unconscious mind, and they form our perceptions about relationships, about what is normal in a relationship, what is not normal in a relationship, what I can take, what I can't take, what I want, what I don't want, and stuff like that. So we sort of teach people how to relate to us based on what energy, what vibe we give them. I hope that makes sense, but I think that's as simply as I can put it, right? And another thing that I also realized, which draws a bit on my personal experiences as well, is that depending on the type of stage that you are in your life, you will look for something different in a significant other. And I went through that phase in my life where I know that I touched a bit about this in my first video, but I was basically raised in a female-dominated household, meaning that I did not have a father figure in the house. I did not have a male figure in the house to look up to as a father figure type of vibe. So when I was a teenager and I was starting to experiment in relationships, I had the perception that men are broken, men are not okay, and men need to be fixed because that's why they leave. So because I had that in my mind, my first encounter of a toxic relationship was that I attracted someone who I felt needed fixing, who I felt needed help, who I felt needed grooming and supporting and stuff like that. So it ended up being toxic in various ways, because then I found myself losing parts of myself to this person. I found myself compromising things that I would not necessarily compromise in my sober state. It brought up a lot of dynamics inside of me that I wasn't aware of, and that I couldn't necessarily deal with at that time, because obviously I wasn't aware of what is it that I was going through that was making me attract this type of person and that was making me feel this type of way. So my daddy issues made me attract a person that I felt needed saving. So instead of being a significant other in a relationship, I became a savior. And obviously that led to various things that I struggled with as well. For instance, my perception of men and relationships, and anxieties, and my self-esteem and my insecurities, like all of those things started coming up just based on this one relationship. And I went into this relationship not knowing that this is what I'm giving off, and therefore this is what I'm attracting. Okay. So those are just some of the experience, some of the examples of how our perceptions can shape what we attract, and of how the things that we leave undealt with in our minds can get cemented in our subconscious and help us and make us attract the same type of vibe as well. So having said all of that, which is a mouthful, the bottom line is, one of the biggest reasons why people find themselves in toxic relationships is because of trauma that is undealt with, that elicits itself in different phases of our lives. I think that's probably the most simplest way that I can put it. We find ourselves in toxic relationships because there's traumas that we haven't dealt with that cause us to have emotional issues. Okay. So everybody has emotional issues. I mean, I always say, before I studied psychology, I didn't even know what it was about. If you guys watch my first video, you'll hear my journey of that. But I'm now at a point in my life where I'm a strong believer of everybody needs to, at some point in their life, have seen a psychologist. A professional psychologist as well, so that you know what emotional issues are you carrying around and that you haven't dealt with, that keep on coming up in different stages and different phases of your life, and how all of those things play together in making you attract different vibes or different energies and different stuff like that. So I think that, or I believe that, in order for you, I know that there's a lot of books and there's a lot of videos and there's a lot of stuff that's said and published about how to get out of a toxic relationship, and they'll give you various things, like they'll try to go for, I don't know, I don't even know what they tell you guys to do, but I'm a strong believer of one of the biggest contributing factors, or one of the things that can help us the most in breaking toxic traits, and it might not just be relationships, is to go out there and seek help. Because sometimes we carry things around, or sometimes we carry issues around, and you're not even aware of what is it that you're carrying around. And I had that problem at some stage of my life as well, because I have a very strong personality, so it takes me a while for me to sort of look in the mirror. So there was a time in my life where I was carrying all of these things and all of these issues, and I was thinking, oh well, there must be something wrong with all of the men in this world, and I'm just here to fix them, and I'm just here to save them. And I wasn't realizing that I was carrying all of these things, and because I was carrying all of these things, I was doing something that I was not meant to do, because I mean, only God can fix a person. So I was trying to be a savior in places where I was supposed to be a companion. And it's only when I got help and I started understanding myself and I started understanding why I do certain things that I was actually able to break some of my toxic traits. So it's only when I learned what is it about me that puts myself in those situations where I was able to identify the situation from afar. I'd be like, okay, I know you, and I'm not going down this road again, and I'm not doing this with myself again. And that's when I actually started making a significant change in my life and in the decisions that I made in my life as well. So again, it all starts with you. I know that it's always easier to blame someone else or to blame something else. Like there's something wrong with the men of South Africa. There's something wrong with men in my generation. Let me date a couple of years older. Let me date a couple of years younger. Let me date guys from this section and from this area and stuff like that. When the actual fact is, you'll always see something wrong with something else if your filter is wrong. So we first need to fix our filters. We first need to fix how we see ourselves, how we view others, so that we can be able to identify things that we don't want to mix with while they're from a distance, and value the things that we do want to mix with. I went through that journey. It wasn't the most comfortable of things because of my personality. Like I said, it was the most humbling experience for me to actually come to terms with the fact that actually you are the problem. Actually, I was a problem. Actually, I was the one that was responsible for all of these things that were happening in my life. And it's only when I started taking charge of that, it's only when I started changing my lens, where I actually started attracting the right vibe. And guys, I'm within the right vibe. Like, so yeah, man, it all starts with you. I mean, if somebody said something so significant just the other day. They said that one of the reasons why a lot of people are not in therapy is because they're afraid to hear the truth about themselves. And I believe that 100%, and I'm for that 100%. So find out what is it about you that's making you do things in a certain way. Find out what is it about you that's making you hear things differently and that's making you see things differently, because it's not everything that's as it seems. You know what I mean? That's why you have to be so mindful as well when you listen to what other people say, because people will say it as they hear it, not as it is. And our senses are shaped by the filters of the things that we've experienced and the things that we've been through in life. Okay. So just to wrap this up, I mean, when I went through a phase of discovering who I was and how toxic I was, it helped me to then identify toxic relationships from a distance, whether it's friendships, whether it's family members, whether it's romantic relationships and stuff like that, because it's not just toxic relationship between a guy and a girl. Like, you can have a toxic relationship with your family or with a friend and stuff like that. Like, people coexist. So when I went through my journey of discovery, or my awakening as I like to call it, I realized that I was able to realize or to pick up things that people would do that I didn't want to mix with. Like, for instance, one-sided commitment, for instance, stuff like dishonesty, stuff like people that are unloyal, stuff like people, there's this thing that people do that I don't know why do they do it. I know that I once did it as well. This whole scorecard system thing that, okay, if you did me a number, I'm gonna do you a number. Like, I was that person. Like, I was that, oh, you're doing this, it's fine, I will do the same thing, and I will do it like even worse type of vibe, so it took me realizing those traits about myself to be like, okay, this is what's happening. I can see it come from a distance, and this is where I'm gonna stop it. So that's my challenge to you guys today. Before we go out there and make a rant about how messed up everything is and how messed up everyone is, let's look in the mirror and let's start with ourselves. Let's get help. so that we can save ourselves from so many traps and from so many encounters in life as well. So yeah, that's it from me for today. I really hope that this was insightful, and I really hope that this triggered a thought process that maybe someone was not thinking about or someone was not looking at. I really hope that this will help some of you guys look at yourselves in a different way and look at the decisions that you've made in your life in a different way as well. That, you know what, at the end of the day, everybody has issues. Everybody will continue to have issues. Just because I've dealt with some part of my life and of myself, it does not mean that I don't have issues of my own. I still feel that sometimes I'm one of the most hardest people to get along with, and I am working on that, where I feel like I have to. But also it's set, how can I put this? It's sort of set the ground or set the foundation for the type of people that I attract in my life. So I realize that the older I get, the smaller my circle gets. But the smaller my circle gets, the more quality people I have in my life, if I can put it in that way, because I now know what vibe to give off for what vibe I want to get back. And I'm continuously working on myself, and I challenge every one of you guys to continuously work on yourself as well. It's not about it's the process. It's the process more than anything. Process over progress, or progress over process, whatever it is. But anyway, just get off your seats and get some work and get some help, and start identifying things about yourself that are making you behave in a certain way towards certain people. Okay, I know that I said a lot today, but I really do hope that it helped somebody out there. And again, if there's something that wasn't clear, if there's something that you guys disagree with or anything like that, please do feel free to comment, and just let me know. Like, let's start a conversation. I always encourage you guys to start a conversation, because I know that I don't know everything. So I appreciate those comments very much. I appreciate people that disagree with me very much, because it makes me stop and think that, oh, okay, I actually didn't see it that way, you know. And that is what this channel is about. So let's start conversations that are not easy to start in other platforms or in other settings. Okay, so yeah, drop a comment, let me know how you feel, what you think about this topic, or and stuff like that. And who knows, like, maybe we might just post a follow-up video as well. I mean, that's the direction that I'd like to take in the future. So if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget the notification bell, guys. The bell is important, I promise you. Share this video with your friends. Like I said, if you're in a relationship, looking to get in a relationship, or have been in a relationship, this is one of the videos that you have to make sure that you watch. Don't forget to follow me on socials, guys. Like, let's get those subscribers up, let's get those followers up. The more of you guys I'm able to interact with, the better the content, the quality of my content will be, because I know that I'll be addressing things that you guys want me to address. So yeah, stay blessed. Each one help one. It all starts with you. Let's all embrace ourselves. Let's all be in a journey of discovery. Let's all be in a journey of becoming. See you guys next Friday at 3 p.m.
So what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
I fell in high school when I was running. I think it was a 300-meter race, and like, I think I just took like 5-10 steps, and it was so packed. And I fell. So yeah, that was sad.
What's your biggest fear?
Snakes. I hate snakes.
I thought snakes are important.
Snakes and falling. Yo, guys, like, I'm so scared to fall. You don't understand. You need trauma, you need PTSD. You need to go for therapy.
Falling in love or just falling?
Falling. Just falling. Whether it's love or out of love, a fall is a fall. Is a fall is a fall.
Do you have anything to tell the guys of South Africa at this moment?
Goodbye, guys. What can I say to the guys of South Africa? I have a brother, so this is a very touchy-feely thing for me, because I always want what's best for him. At the end of the day, I always want him to become a better man. So what can I say to the guys of South Africa? Get help, guys. Like, honestly, speak. There's nothing wrong with talking. There's nothing wrong with not being okay and actually telling someone that you're not okay. Get help. There's nothing wrong with therapy. There's nothing wrong with crying in therapy. I remember I had arguments with a friend of mine a couple of days ago, and he was telling me that he never cries. And I was like, well, sinking in, like, you're in trouble. There's nothing wrong with crying, you know. And yeah, just get help. I mean, there's so many places that are available that you guys can go to. So yeah, and hang around the right crowd. Like, get like-minded friends. And check out, there's this video that a friend of mine posted about What About the Men. So just search What About the Men in YouTube and just check out that content. I mean, it's a very close friend of mine who is really just releasing some dope contents geared towards empowering men and stuff like that. So check that out. And yeah, man, each one help one. Let's all start somewhere. It all starts with you. So yeah.